Most of us assume there is a place where nothing is happening, a pause, a middle, a moment where we can stop moving without consequence. We imagine neutral ground as a kind of safe space. Not forward, not backward, just still. But what if that place doesn't exist? What if standing still is already a decision? We talk about life as though movement is optional, as though we can choose when effort matters and when it doesn't. But experience keeps interrupting that idea, because when people stop striving, they don't feel stable. They feel exposed, disoriented, anxious, not because they're failing, but because they have stepped into a place that is not empty. In Through the Looking Glass, Alice finds herself running alongside the Red Queen. They run and run faster and faster until Alice is breathless. And yet, when they finally stop, she realizes something strange. They are exactly where they started. The Red Queen explains it plainly. It takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. In that world, motion isn't progress. Motion is maintenance. Stopping isn't neutral. Stopping means falling behind. We read that as fantasy, but it only feels strange because it names something we've normalized. Before the Industrial Revolution, time was largely natural. Work followed daylight, seasons, tasks finished when they were finished. But factories changed all that. The clock moved from the wall into the body. Whistles marked the day. Shifts replaced rhythms. Punch clocks replaced judgment. Time no longer described work. Time commanded it. Stopping wasn't rest. Stopping was loss. Fall behind the clock, and you fell behind life itself. Neutral ground disappeared, not because people became greedy, but because the system could not pause. Here is the truth we resist. There is no neutral ground. There is no place where nothing is happening. The ground is either holding you, or it is giving way beneath you. Standing still is not rest. If the ground cannot bear your weight, it is exposure. This is why effort feels necessary. Not because effort saves us, but because effort distracts us from the instability underneath. Motion feels like life because motion delays collapse. But motion does not create ground. It only postpones the moment where you have to discover whether the ground can hold you at all. So the question isn't, how do I stop? Or even, how do I rest? The question is simpler and harder. What am I standing on? Because if the ground is unstable, stopping will always feel like dying. And if the ground is solid, you won't need to keep moving to prove you're alive. So, if there is no neutral ground, then we have a problem. Because most of us only know one way to survive. Try harder, work harder, think clearer, do better, stabilize yourself. If things feel uncertain, we don't stop. We adjust. We tighten control. We move more carefully. But somewhere underneath it all is a quiet assumption. If I try hard enough, I can hold myself up. This is the first ladder we reach for, self-stability, the belief that if we can just manage ourselves well enough, we can stand. And it doesn't sound unreasonable. It sounds responsible, disciplined, even wise. Take control of your life, fix what's broken, become consistent, and for a while, it works. Ernest Shackleton was one of the most disciplined explorers of his time. When his ship, the Endurance, became trapped in the Antarctic ice, he did everything right. He rationed supplies, he organized routines, he maintained morale, he led with precision, and for a while, it worked. The men stayed alive, the system held. But the ice didn't care about discipline. Pressure built slowly, then relentlessly, until the ship began to crack, not because Shackleton failed, but because the thing he was managing was never stable to begin with. No amount of effort could hold it together. And that's the part we don't want to see, because effort worked right up until it didn't. Dorian Gray believed he could preserve himself if he managed things carefully enough. Not through discipline, but through control. Control of his image. Control of what others could see. And for a while, it worked. He remained unchanged, untouched, while everything underneath slowly distorted. The surface stayed intact, and that felt like stability, until the moment came when what he had hidden could no longer be contained, because managing the appearance of stability is not the same as having something that can hold you. Here is the problem. Effort can change behavior, but it cannot create stability, because effort depends on the very ground it is trying to create. You cannot use effort to produce the thing effort requires in order to work. That's why it feels so convincing. Effort works just enough to make you trust it. It can improve your habits, it can shape your decisions, it can even delay collapse, but it cannot hold you. Because when the ground shifts, effort has nothing to stand on. So when instability shows up, we don't question the ground, we question ourselves. We assume, I need to try harder, be better, do more. But what if the problem isn't how you're trying, but what you're standing on? Because if effort cannot hold you, then trying harder will never make you stable. It will only keep you moving. And if movement isn't the same as standing, then what exactly are you depending on to hold you up? Next time, we're going to look at another ladder. The belief that if we live the right way, we can make ourselves secure. I'm James Burke. This is Where to Stand.